Today, we're drinking a jug of wine.
The 1-year taste of Viking Blood clone.
This is the Dansk Mjod Viking Blood clone, not to be confused with the cherry mead. This is actually the hibiscus and hops and all that. It didn't come out exactly like their original, but it's okay. It came out really nice all on its own. This has been sitting for a year, and no, we didn't really bottle it, but did we? Because this is a Carlo Rossi wine bottle. I mean, they sell wine in these bottles, so we bottled it. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So now I'm going to pour some. It's so that you could just like put a finger through and drink, you know. But it's capped. This is not, you know, set to be under pressure or anything. And look at that. It was totally still, no carbonation. That's what we like. Okay, I'm going to need some assistance because this is heavy. I'm going to need you to lift your glass up and tip it to the side. There you go.
So if you watched the making of, we fortified this with Everclear. And when Brian opened this up, I was reminded of what we did.
Now, this is a hibiscus mead, okay, that we made that started at a 1.112 gravity. I have notes here. That's why I'm looking down. That ended at 1.038, so it was like 11.1%. We then added hops to it. We dry hopped it, and we added a pound of honey to up the sweetness level. And then we added 16 ounces of Everclear to it. So it ended up being probably close to 20%, totally overcome whatever yeast we were using. So this is pretty powerful stuff, much like the original from Dansk Mjod.
So
it's
first
viscous
thing that you notice if you compare our Viking Blood to Dansk Mjod's Viking Blood is that the color is completely different.
Yeah.
Theirs looks more
like
what you would imagine a mead would look like, where ours has the red from the hibiscus.
Yeah, and it is possible they used a different kind of hibiscus. Mm-hmm. I also believe they have ginger in theirs, which we didn't put in ours.
But the red is very pretty and it's very clear. It's a beautiful jewel tone.
It smells fruity.
Yeah.
Totally fruity. The
initial
alcohol, I think, was just a little poof at the top there.
Yeah. Now I'm getting honey notes.
Honey and fruit.
And just inhaling the aroma makes my mouth
really
start
nice.
to water. It's like, oh yeah, let's drink
She
some
doesn't
of that.
know it yet, but I already tasted it. Like a minute ago. It was really good.
The first note I get is honey.
Oh, yeah.
And then that immediately slides, not sharply like a contrast, but it just melds right into those fruit notes. And I almost get like a smoky essence. And I'm attributing that to hops because I have that a little bit of astringent bittering on my tongue, but not so much in the flavor profile.
To me, I get like a cherry flavored honey right up front. As it's in my mouth for a while, I'm starting to get the astringency, like you said. The tannins start to kick in a little bit. There's almost a gingery note there, but it's not ginger. But it's something along those lines, very similar. I also get a little bit of black pepper in this. And then as it goes down, that's when I actually notice the alcohol most. Just a little bit of a bite at the end. But for, 20%, you'd expect some amount of a bite.
It is really nice. And
this is excellent, as far as I'm concerned. It's nothing like Dansk Mjod Viking Blood.
I have vague recollections of when we first tasted it.
We liked it.
I have different recollection. I remember liking just the hibiscus mead before we did anything to it much better than once we added the hops and the Everclear.
Now, I want to say something on that. Sorry to interrupt you, but we filmed this the same day that we're actually going to film making just that hibiscus mead. So you'll see the hibiscus mead before you see this tasting. But that's why we did the hibiscus mead, because, wow, this was so good. I wonder what it would be like without the Everclear and just as a hibiscus mead. Yeah. So that's why you're seeing that first and then this. So one inspired the other.
But now after aging a full year,
it's
really nice. I love the flavor profile. I love how
it's like a port.
Yes. It's like a port. And it's got that
it's enveloping is what it is. It's got this, a lot of wines as you take it in, it just kind of goes in, you get the flavors, then it's gone. This one kind of just coats your entire mouth.
Yeah,
it's a
if you put
sensory
it
experience.
into musical terms, most wines for me are almost like a staccato, where it's like sharp little notes, where this is more of a melody, and everything is working together, and it transitions from one note to the next very smoothly. Yeah.
And I get what you're saying there. What I'm getting from this, though, is instead of it being a bunch of notes like this, it's more of a chord. Anyway, back to the mead. I really like this. I think this is wonderful. I really want to see how the hibiscus mead would be without the Everclear and without the hops. I don't think it needs it, but I might want to oak it.
A further note on this is that I'm really appreciating it at room temperature. We did not chill this, and if I remember correctly, Dansk Mjod suggested serving
Chilling
it
it.
chilled.
Yep. This doesn't need to be.
No, this is perfect at room temperature, and because we're in Florida, it's very rare that I really enjoy something at room temperature because it's so hot. I want it to be cold, but this, I don't want to make it cold.
No. I think if you make this cold, you'll turn off a lot of the flavors. So this is one that I would actually suggest warm, which is unusual.
And you know how sometimes alcohol has that warming effect on the body? I'm getting that from this, probably because of the little boost from the Everclear. But I could imagine drinking this by itself on a chilly winter night.
Yeah.
We don't really get those, but if we did, I would want to drink it.
My real test of a mead or a wine is, do I think I can just pour a glass and enjoy it without food, just as a drink? This passes that test. I can totally do that. Not a lot of them actually pass. I don't know if people have picked up on that. We talk about food pairings, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But being able to drink it alone is a huge thing for me because
yes.
I didn't like wine. I could do whiskey, but I didn't like wines at all. And even mead, I would have to have it with food in order to enjoy it.
And that's because the relationship between the beverage and the food heightens the experience of both.
Yes.
And that's why when we say this is really good by itself, that means that it is
It's a
unique
big compliment.
experience on its own and doesn't need to be heightened by some other element.
You know what? I'm going to pour a little bit more if we're going to keep talking.
That said, what would we pair this with if we were going to?
Anything.
For some reason, and I don't know why this is coming to mind, but I want to drink this with s'mores.
I want to drink this with cherry cheesecake.
And I think it's the concept of you make s'mores over fire.
Oh, she's getting the smoky thing again.
And the smoky and the cold.
See, I don't get as much smoke off of it as you do.
And so I think it's more of a sentimental connection of a space and time versus actual flavor profiles when I think of s'mores and this drink.
Okay, I want this with just meatballs and tomato sauce. No spaghetti, just meatballs and tomato sauce.
Just meatballs.
Or a meatloaf. For some reason, that kind of a thing, like a beefy, to cut through a little bit of the sweetness here, I don't know. That just seems to be working for me. But again, you know, everything's good with steak. But this is almost a dessert wine, I think. Mm-hmm. It's more of an aperitif. It is very much like a port.
That I said s'mores and you said cheesecake, and the relationship I got between those two
Graham
things
crackers.
Was not graham crackers, but that's true. But it was the creaminess, and that I think a creamy substance with this would be nice, whether it be cheese or...
This would be great with a lot of cheeses, like your stronger cheeses, more of your sharper type cheese. To me, this is very much a port.
Yeah.
It's not port exactly, but it's very much so.
It would be a great aperitif.
Yeah. Like I said, I could just pour a glass of this and drink it.
Yep.
Which I don't say very often, but I think our tastes are changing too, though.
Yep. But I think a year's wait was well worth it.
Oh yeah, I liked it a year ago, and we took some to Ben and Savvy's for D&D Day, and they both really liked it. But I think this is easily 3 times as good as it was a year ago when we did that.
Yeah.
It just keeps improving, and that's the mellowing of all those flavors and everything together. If you like this video, we have lots of tasting videos, and we make mead, cider, wine, and beer all the time.
Thank you for liking and subscribing.
As always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.